The rain fell hard against the windows of General Hospital, streaking the glass like unspoken secrets desperate to escape. Inside, the halls buzzed with the usual chaos, paging nurses, rolling gurneys, murmured prayers, but Emma Drake felt unnervingly alone. She sat rigid on the edge of a hospital bed, fingers twisted together so tightly her knuckles had gone pale. Her breathing was shallow, uneven. This wasn't just fear, this was instinct, raw, piercing, and impossible to ignore. Something was wrong. And deep down, she knew Nathan was at the center of it. Across town, Nathan Corinthos checked his phone for the 5th time in as many minutes. No messages, no missed calls. Still, an uneasy weight pressed against his chest, the kind that had saved his life more than once. Experience had taught him that silence could be louder than screams. Emma's name hovered in his thoughts like a warning siren. They'd argued earlier, nothing explosive, just a quiet disagreement layered with unresolved tension. Emma had been distant lately, distracted, watching, listening, asking questions she didn't follow up on. Nathan had chalked it up to stress, maybe even burnout. Now he wasn't so sure. Nathan slipped his jacket on and headed out, ignoring the voice in his head telling him to wait. Waiting had never been his strength. Staying ahead of the game, however, that was survival. Back at the hospital, Emma closed her eyes, trying to slow her racing heart. Images flashed through her mind, overheard conversations that stopped when she entered a room, unfamiliar faces lingering too long in corridors, files mysteriously disappearing from secured systems. She hadn't imagined it. Someone was pulling strings, and she'd seen just enough to become a liability. Her cry for help hadn't been loud. It wasn't a phone call or a desperate plea. It was subtle, intentional. She'd left breadcrumbs. A misplaced file, a coded message hidden in a patient chart, a look held just a second too long when Nathan mentioned a name he shouldn't have known. Emma was counting on one thing. Nathan's instincts were as sharp as her fear. And fear, she realized, was the only thing keeping her alive. Nathan arrived at the hospital just as the storm intensified. The automatic doors slid open, and the sterile scent hit him like a memory. He scanned the room, every muscle alert. This place was supposed to represent healing, but he'd learned long ago that danger didn't respect boundaries. He found Emma's room empty. Panic flared, but Nathan forced it down. Panic led to mistakes. Mistakes got people killed. A nurse mentioned Emma had stepped out moments earlier, pale and shaken, muttering something about needing air. Nathan thanked her, already moving. He didn't miss the way 2 men near the elevator watched him a little too closely. So, it was real. Nathan took the stairs. On the rooftop, the rain had softened into mist. Emma stood near the edge, arms wrapped around herself, staring out at the city lights blinking through the fog. When she turned and saw Nathan, relief flickered across her face, quickly replaced with urgency. "You came," she said. "I always do," though his eyes never stopped scanning the shadows. Emma stepped closer, lowering her voice. "They're watching. I don't know who all of them are, but it's bigger than we thought. This isn't just about one deal or one secret. It's a network." Nathan's jaw tightened. "How much do you know?" "Enough to be dangerous," she said softly. "Enough that if I disappear, it won't be an accident." The words hit hard. Emma reached into her pocket and pressed something into his hand, a flash drive warm from her grip. "If anything happens to me—" "Nothing's going to happen to you," Nathan cut in. She met his eyes, fierce and afraid all at once. "You need to stay ahead of them. Promise me you won't hesitate." Nathan closed his fingers around the drive. This was bigger than either of them, and Emma wasn't just asking for protection, she was issuing a warning. Footsteps echoed from the stairwell below. Emma stiffened. "That's them." Nathan moved instantly, positioning himself between Emma and the sound. His mind raced, calculating exits, angles, timing. The game had shifted, and Emma's cry for help wasn't just a plea, it was the opening move. As shadows stretched across the rooftop, Nathan understood one thing with crystal clarity. The danger wasn't coming, it was already here. and if he wanted them both to survive, he'd have to stay 3 steps ahead, no matter the cost. Because in Port Charles, secrets never stayed buried. They waited.